Hey, this is Vu, and today we're going to talk about 4 levels of entry fragging, from beginner to professional, and we brought in an actual CS pro to give his thoughts at the end, but first, I'd like to tell you about Leadify. Leadify helps you improve faster by automatically analyzing your Faceit or matchmaking games and giving you insight into your weaknesses. Leadify will help you improve on them with personalized training, and it also keeps track of your progression as well. Leadify has a ton of statistics to look and compare, but my personal favorite part of the website is the advanced map statistics. It can show you where you're weak on a map, where you get most of your kills, and you can use that to improve. Sign up today for free at leadify.com. To begin with, we've got Definitely Maybe here, who is a Silver 2 on Mirage, and you're going to see some very typical standard things he's going to do wrong that people of all ranks actually have trouble with. So first off, throwing the smoke, then the flash. Well, his team was already out, but perhaps that's not really his fault. Can't blame that on him too much. It's the pathing that is the issue here. As he comes out, he seems very unsure of where he wants to be going, and then he's going to run a kind of odd path. You're going to notice that he goes from Tetris all the way towards under balcony. He's going to stop multiple times to spam through a smoke, and then he's going to have a bit of a struggle getting the kill on this Opper before finally taking him out. The thing you want to realize as an entry fragger is you're really trying to create space, and that means you want to be taking a path that gets that done specifically. Definitely Maybe here wanted to be either pathing quickly out under Belk from close to balcony in Apex in the corner, or he wanted to be taking a wider route, hugging the smokes coming towards triple. If he had done either of those, they make sense. They create a bit of space for his team. It's just different how they do it. The one that paths under balcony is going to clear things a little bit more quickly, a little bit more dangerously, and his teammates can trade behind him. The more wide route gives you longer range engagements and benefits you in some other ways as well. But really, the main thing you want to be doing a lot of the time if you're entry fragging on a real execute is you don't want to be getting caught up doing stuff like spraying through a smoke or things that aren't actively engaging your opponent head on, because then you're going to clog up the rush and your teammates are going to get caught behind you and it's going to ruin the round. Next up, we've got Hamirez, who is Silver 3, and we're going to be here on Pistol Round on Inferno. And when you look at Pistol Round on Inferno, a lot of the time you're thinking most of the players are essentially entries because you're really trying to swarm on your opponents. Like an angry Twitter mob, you don't want to give them any time to get back up and really reset at all. So what you want to be doing is sticking close to your teammates, not really worrying too much about he grenades or anything. It's unlikely your opponents are going to have that. Jump around corners to make sure that you're just not getting shot so that you can swarm even more, and definitely don't stop to reload as your teammate runs in. Following that, you want to be making sure you're taking the wider of the routes, especially with no smoke towards coffins here. You can't run through the middle of the open exposed to 2 angles that are almost certainly going to be shooting at you if you can at all help it. Certainly it's a lot easier for him to either hug the right side towards pool and swing out in a slightly more coordinated fashion, or he can jump over oranges, which gives him a little bit of the ability to look towards coffins in the meanwhile and potentially win the fight. But optimally, you have a freaking smoke towards coffins. Next up, we've got Quan into 3, and he's going to be here on Dust 2 on T side with the second best long spawn. Optimally, if you want to go long, you want the best long spawn. However, any of the best 3 long spawns do give you a slight advantage, and you want to be making sure that those players are getting all the way out. You want to be utilizing your spawns as much as possible and not wasting a good spawn if you're going to be going in a direction. However, unfortunately, Quan is going to do exactly that. First off, he's going to go to the left here in order to throw a smoke corner. You can actually pretty easily throw this smoke corner on the fly, and a lot of people know it. He's going to follow that by moving over and flashing, and at this point, you simply cannot go out long. The only way that it's reasonable to get out long A is if you rush with one of the best spawns getting out quickly to gain space. Once your opponents can make it into pit, it's very tough to do much on long A, and they can easily crossfire you from corner and pit. If you're going to be going long A without trying to utilize your spawns to beat them to certain angles, you want to be waiting, putting some pressure in middle to draw the second long A player away from corner, and then come out and try and isolate the player there. If you run out long A just slightly delayed, you're just going to be running into 3 people, and there's a high chance you're going to die. That being said, Quan is playing in Gold Nova, which means he's just gonna YOLO. He's gonna mosey his way out long A. Nobody has got to any meaningfully aggressive positions. He'll get his way into pit and be just fine, apparently. However, in general, this isn't going to be a very high success rate play. When you have the best spawn on most angles on most maps and you're going that direction, usually you want to utilize that spawn, use a small amount of utility on the fly as you're going there, but allow your teammates to support you as you try to catch your opponents off guard with a timing they may not expect or may not be able to set up to deal with. Next up, we've got Chronicles, who is Faceit level 2, and there's 2 issues here with his gameplay. First off, he's never going to be good with a crosshair like this, and second off, he's never going to get into a video with a crosshair like this. Next up, we've got Justin, and he is Faceit level 4 and LEM here on Inferno, and he's actually going to do a pretty solid job of entry fragging. Going to make his way over to Banana, Molly car early, typically what you're looking to do. Bit of a fail to jump into the cubby here, but ends up working out for him, and he throws a makeshift flash there for himself as well. Optimally, you want your teammate throwing that sort of flash. However, if they're not going to, making your own makeshift flash and making it work is what you're going to need to do. Following that, he could be a bit more aggressive here, trying to gain some more space, especially if he had a teammate throwing some utility, but playing a little bit more passive isn't the end of the world, and eventually his opponents are going to gift him a kill here, as Squitchy is going to pick it up, and they're going to try and push quickly into the bomb site. The pathing here is actually pretty good, could go a little bit quicker, certainly should be clearing the boost angle on CT here, but you can see he's taking the more supportive of the routes, he's hugging that back wall to get to his position here, while his teammate is going in close and trying to make sure he can get the angles as well. So they're playing supportive and symbiotic positions to clear out the bomb site. If one of them spots a player, the other player should be able to support and trade very likely. The problem here is that Justin is going to need to entry frag himself into a freaking afterplant, or this is very likely to happen, where someone makes his way over and just about kills the opper. At some point, you need to be able to recognize when you're in an afterplant versus when you are still aggressively clearing the bomb site. And in that type of situation, as he got into the bomb site there, especially in a 3v3, there was reason to believe likely the second CT had gone into CT or rotated off at some point, and that they would have full control of the bomb site, at which point you stop trying to push in like a maniac and you just get into a solid afterplant. Part of entry fragging is really just getting yourself into a good position to set up for the afterplant, rather than getting your team kind of a bomb plant, but they don't have any control of anything at all. Next up, we've got Rain, who is a former Patreon supporter, and he is Faceit level 5 here on Train. And one of the things to realize about Train is that there is one very obviously forward spawn that actually makes a very big difference in plays you can make. Namely, you can beat the CT spawns down ladder with that spawn if you take the correct route. However, what Rain is going to do here is he's going to Mach 10 ladder without the best spawn, and he's going to run the incorrect route. You want to make sure you go over to the right there, or if you go to the left, you're using that to throw the electronic bounce flash, and you definitely want to make sure you land that jump, but despite that, he still gets a kill before getting traded. The few things to realize there: number one, you need to be making sure you understand your spawns and what advantages they give you, what routes you want to be running, and where your opponents can be at that given time. Realistically, I highly doubt Rain understood that his opponent could be sitting in ladder there with a shotgun. Especially, you need to make sure your movement is on point. You need to be utilizing your weaponry correctly. He used a Mach 10 ladder, which is okay for the initial ladder play. However, following up with the ladder play, you don't really have any opportunities. You're going to be going out into a very long range engagement with a close range weapon. If you're going to be running a MAC-10, you want to be doing something like going towards inner, especially down lower ramp, or even out upper. You can force some close range engagements, and then you can push up in the trains and catch people close range as they rotate in. Outer, that's not really possible, and so a MAC-10 doesn't make much sense. In fact, a Deagle would make more sense, and a Deagle has the 2-shot body shot capability in ladder as well. We're going to take a look at another round from Rain here, again on train in the same game, of course, and he's going to be making his way over to Ivy. The first thing to understand is this is more of a standard matchmaking pug style of entrying. He's not going to be running out in a full exec, but he's going to be looking for some frags as his team does work across the map. The main thing I would mention here is that there's a really cool one-way that Astralis loves to throw that you can throw towards Ivy that gets you a lot of free kills on players that aren't aware of the existence. The other thing to realize is Ivy is a place that's really tough to avoid flashes at, so generally you want to be throwing something like a molly there early or just kind of waiting for a potential push at the beginning of the round, because it's highly likely they'll do something like a flash push or even just have an opper kind of walk forward and catch you off guard, and with nobody around to trade, you're just asking to get yourself killed. Following that, you also don't want to be walk peeking into Ivy, which is a prime op angle when you're playing against 3 ops. Now, I assume Rain doesn't know they have 3 ops, but any round where they have a comfortable buy, which they likely do here, and in fact, with 3 players surviving, he might even know they're double opping at the very least. This is a place an opper is very likely to be posted. So something like a flash, again, the Astralis one-way, having a teammate jump across to bait the shot, then peeking in behind him. These are things that are going to work. Dry peeking is unlikely to work. And luckily for him, of their 3 ops, none of them were towards Ivy, which is incredibly confusing, but that's how it works. Following that, he's going to spot an opper and just allow that opper to peek into him. One of the very few advantages you have as a T entry fragger is that you're actually fighting people as you get that peeker's advantage. So if you give that up, you're probably making a pretty big mistake, especially fairly long range, especially as an opper is about to peek into you. It was actually a pretty good play there to try and throw a smoke, and potentially he should have mollied as well, smoke left side, molly right, to deny any information. Then he could have grouped with his team, but you actually have to let that land, and sometimes you need to think about risk versus reward. If he had got that kill, it would have been nice, however, it wouldn't have been round changing. However, by dying there, he brings his team from probably a very easily winning situation into what may well be a losing situation, especially 3v3 against ops when you're running low on utility. Next up, we've got JVB, who is also Faceit level 10, and I just wanted to contrast this to Rain's gameplay on train, where Rain went solo towards Ivy with an AK, and he did do well, but I think he played it a bit off. You can see JVB here. This isn't perfect. Typically, you probably expect someone to molly or at least flash Ivy early, but I mean, playing anti-flash is certainly a way to play it, and especially with riflers holding these angles, if an opper were to peek out, he could quickly swing and trade, so certainly a relatively easy or decent way to play it. And he's going to make his way over to get jump boosted across while his teammate is going to peek out at the same time. Usually you expect this to be the other way around, where the rifler would jump across and the opper would peek inside. However, doing it this way is just fine, and the rifler there, Leah, is going to get a kill. Then they're going to get smoked off, and this is where I have a bit of trouble with this one. I'm not sure this is perfect because you generally don't want them to be, fully aware you have 3 Ivy. One of the things about Ivy is with the smoke left side, molly right, you can really deny any sort of information, and you can either pop out with 3 or you can pop out with 5, or you can just be on the other side of the map by the time they can even check and clear it. However, they're making a ton of unnecessary noise as that lack of information is there with the smoke and molly up, but I do like that they pop out quickly as soon as that molly is done. JVB trying to support his teammates, running out ready to trade and ready to post up on any angles. Usually you expect that op to go towards T-Con, but it's not bad to go towards Ivy. He gets himself one kill and then gets himself taken down, but I just wanted to show this one simply to contrast what we saw from Rain, which was a lot less coordinated in terms of how they cleared out the angles and the safety of the play in general. Next up, we're going to have our professional content. We're going to have Swisher from Gaming, fantastic player, and he's going to tell you a few things himself. One thing to note that Swisher doesn't really mention very often in this clip is how good his crosshair placement is. Oftentimes these people he's killing, all he has to do is click because his crosshair was on their head before even seeing them. That's not always possible when it comes to entry fragging. You certainly do sometimes get caught off guard, but it's so ingrained in him that I think he doesn't even realize it all the time. Certainly you should pay attention to that, and it's very noticeable when you reflect on his advanced statistics.
Hey guys, I'm Swisher. I just recently joined Gaming. I completed the roster of the former Brazilian, all Brazilian team, now international team, and I was invited by Voo to kind of give a breakdown on entry fragging and some tips for crosshair placement, pathing, and decision making along the lines of that. Good friend of mine coached this last season of MDO for my previous team, and so yeah, I'll just break these clips down for just about everything. We're on a very, very bad force buy. I have an AK. I'm the only rifle on our team against 3 AKs, an OP, and an M4. I think this is a ranked G game or FPLC game, actually. So initially, that first molly comes in for a ramp, very common. What you see from players to stop that early ramp peak. Nade comes through, and a flash comes through. So that's three utility pieces: molly, flash, nade, all in very quick succession. So I know that they're probably pushing, or at least one's probably pushing close. So my initial reaction is to aim for this close angle. He's going to try to clear right. If he is pushing, he's not going to see me immediately, and then I'm going to peek kind of off timing it and try to kill him. Peek, win the duel. Kel has been the A player this entire half, so I know that A's probably side is probably clear. What you see a lot of times from players is they jump towards Tetris. It's okay, but it's not the right play here. You definitely want to swing towards sight and make space. As I'm the first in, I need to be making space. I don't even attempt to clear sight because I'm fairly certain it's clear at this point. So I initially back towards default / under balk, and I'm just swinging wide towards jungle. Don't see anything. I see that he threw that smoke from that cubby. I stop for a second to see if he peeks me. He doesn't, but I can't stop here. I need to continue moving forward to make space for the rest of my team that's in the back. We have 2 palace and 2 ramp. I need to keep pushing forward. So I still back towards sight, swinging towards stairs to see if I see anything. Peek and kill dare stairs, and I still push forward to kill spawn to try to kill a rotator here, because I need to keep creating space. I cannot stop. If I stop, we probably lose this round. I push into spawn and kill Viz rotating, and that left the team in a 4v2. That's a round that every team should win, unless something crazy happens. But basically, to get out of this round is my crosshair placement stairs for the stairs peak. As soon as I'm about to peek bottom, I instantly adjust my crosshair down, peeking jungle. I stop for a second to see if he peeks me. He doesn't, so I instantly continue moving forward. That spacing towards default is very, very important. Or not spacing, the entry pathing towards defaults and under balk is very important here. Because it gave me that advantage. Because I peeked close, I would have gotten traded by Dare. I would have killed Dare. If I would have killed Dare, whoever, I think that's Grape in window. Yeah, Grape in window would have just killed me and traded me, and that leaves it a 3v4 with no spawn control at this point, no space created, and that's a very losable round. So yes, what to gain from that is just, if you are first in entry fragging, you need to continue to create space. You cannot stop. All right, in this last clip here, it's from a pug. Earlier in the round, our team did an not a very good A execute low buy. We were on a force buy here. I saved actually, but Fast, Duma, Welly, and John kind of all bought. John saved just a deagle. But we just tried to get early kills A. We did get the one entry onto Pesa and connector. Static actually fell back to play retake A, which is good. Malik's opping jungle. I'm lurking mid with bomb. He calls that he killed the connector. Malik gets the kill onto John. Static gets the kill on the Welly. So now I'm in a 1v4 with a deagle, body armor, and bomb. Bomb is a huge advantage here. So my whole course of action at this point is to isolate a 1v1, get a free 1v1, free kill, and to make it a 3v1 to try to get no damage applied to me as well. So I hear Malik window opping, or not window, stairs opping. Hear him running around. I hear Smiley rotating, and I hear Raid Boss Oats. Or I think that's Oats, yeah. Oats rotating. And Static was spawned, so I know all four are there. So at this point, I'm waiting. I hear him cross. I don't want to take that fight because they're probably looking at me. I hear him cross. Reload stairs. So at this point, my crosshair is perfectly aligned for stairs peek. If he were to peek me, I'd be ready to take him down. But I actually see Static triple here. A little late, actually. Free kill onto him. 2 shots, and I instantly shoot my crosshair back up for the headshot level for that stairs peek.
I just wanted to add one thing here. I mentioned his crosshair placement. This is great because he doesn't swing his crosshair back up and stick it to the wall. He understands this second player is going to swing out a little bit wide to clear it because he's not exactly sure where he is, and he keeps his crosshair a little bit out. This contributes to how little he has to move his crosshair to get the kill because the player strafes right into it.
Take down Raid Boss. So now I'm in a 2v1 situation with bomb. Now with a picked up AK on the ground. Smiley was jungle. I heard him. Malik, I heard no, jumped from stairs, so I know they're both there. So I grabbed gun. I grabbed the AK, jump into ladder. I'm instantly either going B underpass here. In my head, my play would be to either go underpass, or what I like to do a lot is I have really good movement, so I kind of rely on that for a lot of things. So I jump into window here, into ladder, to reposition at a spot that they would not expect me to be at. The common expected angle would be for me to go underpass here, or go towards top mid, not jump window, or jump window into ladder. I could jump window as who is that? Smiley is like ready for the window jump because they heard me on the bench. But I jump into ladder very quickly. Silly jump down, looking connector here, and I take down Maluk, who's just not prepared for me at all. So now I'm in a 1v1. I know that Smiley was jungle. Get post plant, looking cat, looking market. What I wanted to do was try to get into upper B here, if I could. Jump van, get upper B. That was my best case scenario in my mind in this situation. I like to play the post plant from there. I peek cat, quick glance at cat, didn't see anything. I do a shift walk, crouch peek across the window. I spot him on that peek. So what a lot of players do, they instantly repeek in this situation and try to kill him. It's a very, very common expected thing for that instant repeek. So in my head, I actually set like a little internal clock in my head to count down to go like, hey, so he's probably going to expect me to repeak instantly, but let me do it in 4 seconds or 3 seconds to give him a little bit of doubt of whether I'm going to repeak, and make his mind kind of have a little different thought process instead of be completely ready. Because at this point, he's ready for me to repeak. He's holding it, ready. That's the only thing he has in his mind is me repeaking. So I wait here for a couple seconds, wait, and then I off timing, repeak, crouch repeak into that same angle, and I take him down. Very good crosshair placement. Just very well played from my part, honestly. Isolating the 2 kills on A, onto Static and Raid Boss on stairs, or triple and stairs, was perfectly executed. Overall, I couldn't really complain. Like, everything went my way.
That's going to be it for the video. If you enjoyed it, hit that sub button. If you want to see more from Swisher, you can go to his Twitch, his Twitter, and you can see the full unedited clips in the description. It's about 30 minutes, I believe, entirely. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.